This episode feels especially meaningful, not just because it's the 100th episode, but because of how we arrived here. That pause wasn't accidental. It wasn't a content gap. It was a conscious decision for rest, for healing, and for honoring what my body and life were asking for and needing during treatment and the holidays. For a long time, I believed that consistency meant never stopping. That strength meant pushing through, that leadership always meant being quote unquote on. But this season asked for something different from me. It asked me to rest, to listen, to slow down, and to choose myself not as a reward, but as a requirement. Buckle up for a new episode of the S.H.E podcast, the show where we have real and raw conversations to inspire and empower you to be seen and heard so you can create balance in everything you want in your life and business. I'm your host, S.H.E, and I'm excited to walk alongside of you on this journey of being seen, heard, and empowered. Welcome to the S.H.E podcast. Be seen, be heard, be empowered. This episode feels especially meaningful, not just because it's the 100th episode, but because of how we arrived here. If you've been listening for a while, you may have noticed that we took a few weeks off. That pause wasn't accidental. It wasn't a content gap. It was a conscious decision for rest, for healing, and for honoring what my body and life were asking for and needing during treatment and the holidays. For a long time, I believed that consistency meant never stopping. That strength meant pushing through, that leadership always meant being quote unquote on. But this season asked for something different from me. It asked me to rest, to listen, to slow down, and to choose myself not as a reward, but as a requirement. So starting this year off with episode 100 feels deeply symbolic. This episode isn't just about celebration. It's about honoring the pauses that make the next chapter possible. Because becoming the woman who chooses to be seen also means becoming the woman who chooses to rest. I am incredibly proud of this milestone of episode 100 and a little emotional about it. And if you've ever tried to create something, build something, show up consistently, or find your voice after losing it, you know this isn't just another number. This 100th episode represents courage, persistence, healing, and growth. Not just mine, but yours as well. Because so many of you have been here from the beginning. Some of you joined along the way, and all of you have made this space feel like a home for women who are rising. So today I want to take you on a journey, my journey, into becoming the woman who chooses to be seen. Visibility is a word we throw around a lot. It sounds like a marketing term, a social media strategy, a business tactic. But visibility, true, real, authentic visibility, is an inner transformation. It's the moment you stop waiting for permission. It's the moment you just decide your story matters. And it's the moment you say, this is who I am, and I'm willing to be seen in the becoming. I didn't start this podcast because I felt fearless. Quite the opposite. I started it because I was tired of hiding. Episode 100 isn't just a celebration. It's proof that becoming visible is not about a single moment. It's about the willingness to show up again and again, especially on the days when you'd rather shrink. I didn't grow up wanting to be in the spotlight. Quite the opposite. I used to be the child that didn't want her picture taken and would want to be in the back of the crowd. Even as an adult, I wasn't thinking one day I'm going to host a podcast and talk to thousands of people, especially about being seen. Instead, I was thinking, how do I get through the day? How do I take care of my kids? How do I survive this? And how am I going to figure out that next step? There was a season when visibility felt like the last thing I ever wanted. I was navigating divorce, trying to create income, raising kids, working 2 jobs, taking care of a house along with 5 animals, and carrying the weight of it all on my shoulders. In those moments, the idea of being seen felt like exposure, like someone might see the exhaustion in my eyes, like someone might see the fear I was trying to pretend wasn't there, like someone might see the cracks in the foundation I was so desperately trying to hold together. And if you've ever felt like you've been trying to hold it all together and one drop of a ball will bring it all down, then you understand where I'm coming from. I didn't feel powerful. I didn't feel confident. I didn't feel like someone with a message worth sharing. Instead, I felt like, who's going to want to hear my story? Why would my story matter to anyone? But the truth is, I didn't understand back then. Healing doesn't protect you, or hiding doesn't protect you. It imprisons you. And in order to heal, you can't hide. And one day in the middle of all the chaos, I felt that I was meant for more. When you hear most people talk about visibility, we often imagine a spotlight moment, or that's what they're talking into. Get out there, step on stages, the big speech, the viral post, that perfect brand launch. But for me, visibility was not a big moment. It was a collection of tiny, shaky, brave moments. The first time I recorded a podcast, I must have started and stopped 20 times. I want to fill you in on a little secret. I still do that. And I think we've been going about 2 years now, and I still end up recording sometimes a few times. My voice shook. Sometimes it still shakes, and I still mess up. My hands shook. My throat felt like it was closing. I started sweating, and my self-doubt was screaming. The first time I posted something vulnerable online, I wanted to jump under the covers and hide. My heart raced so fast that I wanted to delete it immediately. The first time I said my dream out loud to someone else, to build a business, to help women step into their power, even when I didn't fully believe it myself. But each time I showed up, even imperfectly, I could feel myself returning to the woman I always thought I might become someday. So instead of visibility being this scary, overwhelming thing, it became a series of choices. I choose to tell the truth. I choose to share my story. I choose to take up space. I choose to be seen. Not because I felt ready, but because hiding was costing me too much. And every day I still feel that fear. Every day I still need to make that choice to show up, that choice to share my story, that choice to take up space, that choice to be seen. And here's what I discovered over 100 episodes. Visibility isn't about building a brand. Visibility heals something inside of you. It reconnects you to your voice. It dissolves shame. It restores self-trust, and it strengthens confidence. One baby step at a time. And it helps you reclaim the parts of yourself you buried just to get through life. Every episode has healed something in me. When I talked about burnout with a guest, when I shared my story of rebuilding after divorce, when I talked about fear, failure, or resilience, when I shared the first time I was called forward to go live, to do a live stream in a group, and how terrified I was. Every time I spoke it out loud, I felt a piece of my old identity, the hidden, quiet, small version of me, the quote unquote hiding hiding Heidi fall away. Visibility is never just about the person speaking. It's about the people who finally feel seen through your story. To reach 100 episodes, I had to transform. To get to this point and do this solo, I had to transform. Not into someone different, but into the most aligned version of myself. I had to learn how to trust myself again. I had to learn how to show up consistently, even when life felt messy. I had to learn how to stop abandoning myself. I had to learn that visibility isn't confidence, it's courage. I had to learn also to set boundaries, and I had to learn to choose myself first. Visibility is choosing to go first. It's choosing to speak even when your voice shakes. It's choosing to post even when you're afraid of judgment or what others will think of you. It's choosing to show up before you're ever fully ready. Because to be honest, are we ever fully ready? I had to become a woman who no longer measured her worth by her circumstances. A woman who no longer waited for validation. A woman who no longer apologized for wanting something bigger. I had to become the woman who chooses visibility as a lifestyle, not just a moment. Visibility is not a spotlight. It's a vibration you carry. For the woman listening who still feels invisible, this part is for you. If you feel unseen in your business, your relationship, your career, or your family, or even yourself, if you feel like you're doing everything right and still waiting for someone to notice your brilliance, if you feel like the best kept secret, if you've been shrinking your dreams or dimming your voice and dimming your light, I want you to hear me clearly. You are not invisible. You are simply unexpressed. The world can't celebrate what you silence. Your people can't find you if you're hiding. Your power can't activate if you keep waiting for permission. You do not become visible when the fear goes away. You become visible when you move with the fear. The woman you want to become, the bold, confident, expressed woman, she's already inside of you, but she only emerges through action. Scary action. You don't need a perfect message. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need 10,000 followers. You just need willingness. And you get to do this messy. You need willingness to show up imperfectly, willingness to tell the truth, willingness to go first, willingness to be seen in your becoming. I want to give you 3 simple practices I use to build visibility when it felt impossible, and they're still my go-to. Share one true thing a week. You don't need a 10-step content plan. Just share one moment, one lesson, one truth you learned that week. Real visibility is built through honesty, not perfection. It's built through connection. Number 2 is speak before you're ready. Record that podcast. Go guest on somebody's podcast. Send out that pitch. Have the conversation. Read the speech out loud. Your voice grows by being used. And number 3, build a visibility circle. You don't need millions. You need a few trusted people who remind you who you are and reflect back your brilliance. There's times on this podcast where if you look back, true share here is that there's not a lot of solos. And that's a goal that I'm changing in 2026. And the person that pushes me to do that is my producer. And it's more comfortable for me to have guests on this show than for me to speak. So that is one thing that I'm doing to step out of my comfort zone this year and to become more visible and to lean into my voice and my truth is to do more solos on this podcast. And you get to surround yourself with the people who are going to push you forward to do that, to get uncomfortable. Because if we want something different, we must do something different. Visibility becomes easier when you are supported instead of isolated. So find your circle. Find those people who love you and who will cheer you on and push you out of your comfort zone, because you are worthy. You are deserving. You are magnificent, and you are deeply loved. These tiny actions repeated will shift everything for you. So, what's next for the S.H.E podcast? What's next for these, say, next 100 episodes? This milestone of 100 episodes isn't the end of anything. If anything, it's just the beginning, and it's the beginning of a grand new chapter. The next 100 episodes will be bolder. They'll be more honest, if that's possible. We'll be more vulnerable, if that's possible. And they'll be more empowering, if that's possible. But we're going for it. We'll talk about visibility, leadership, identity, womanhood, resilience, success, and the messy, beautiful journey of becoming who you were always meant to be, whatever that looks like. This show isn't just about business. It's about wherever you in your life want to be seen, whether it's your relationship with your partner, whether it's your relationship with your children, whether it's your career, your business, or even your relationship with yourself. This isn't just a podcast. It's a movement. It's a reclamation, a home for women who want to rise without abandoning themselves. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being with me along this journey. Thank you for being with me along the messy. Thank you for walking this path with me, whether you've been here since episode 1 or you just found this space. You are the reason this podcast exists. You are the reason I keep showing up. You are the reason this work matters. And if no one has told you today, you deserve to be seen, you deserve to be heard, you deserve to be empowered, and you are deeply loved. So here's to the woman you're becoming. Here's to the woman you already are. Here's to choosing visibility, not someday, but now. And here's to the next 100 episodes.